2 Corinthians 10 verses 3 to 5 For though we walk in flesh, we do not war according to flesh, for the weapons of our warfare are not fleshly but powerful before God for the overthrowing of strongholds, as we overthrow reasonings and every high thing rising up against the knowledge of God, and take captive every thought unto the obedience of Christ. To experience spiritual warfare in a practical way, there are several basic principles that we must keep. The first principle of spiritual warfare is that we cannot use fleshly weapons. The Apostle Paul tells us this clearly in 2 Corinthians 10 verses 3 to 5. These fleshly weapons not only refer to the losing of temper but include all human schemes and natural methods. Paul was a man who never used fleshly weapons. In his dealings with the churches and his contact with the saints, he was perfectly straight as an arrow. For this reason he could be powerful before God for the overthrowing of strongholds and thereby gain the victory in the spiritual warfare. The second principle of spiritual warfare is to keep the position of ascension. There is only one kind of people who can engage in spiritual warfare: those who have received salvation, have been raised from death, and are now sitting with Christ in the heavens. Only this kind of men can attack the enemy in the air from a transcendent position in the heavens. The third principle of spiritual warfare is that we must use spiritual weapons. Spiritual weapons refer to the whole armor mentioned in Ephesians 6 verses 10 to 17, which includes the girdle of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the shoes of the gospel of peace, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit. We must be in spirit. Preaching the gospel, edifying the saints, and administering the church are of the Spirit. Whatever kind of activity we are engaged in, everyone must be of the Spirit, and everyone must release the Spirit. Anything that is not of the Spirit, anything that is according to our own view, our own idea, our own wisdom, or our own intelligence, is unavoidably a kind of human scheme and thus a fleshly weapon, not a spiritual weapon. Therefore, when we are fighting, all our activities must be of the Spirit, touching the feeling from within our spirit. This also is an extremely basic principle. Praise the Lord.